OC87 Recovery Diaries, stories of mental health, empowerment, and change. Essays, films, and gatherings that create a community of hope, courage, and healing. A safe space to connect on the deepest levels of humanity.
Usually what people think of when they think of crocheting is maybe their grandmother who would maybe sit and crochet a scarf or a hat. Afghans, blankets, something that is cool, but you know, it's not necessarily revolutionary. I've actually never made a hat or a scarf in my life. As long as I can remember, I have battled with anxiety and depression. It comes in waves. I will have good months and I will have bad months, and that is still how it is to this day. So it was the winter of 2017. I had kind of like a traumatic experience happen, and I ended up in the hospital just for some mental illness reasons. And when I got out of the hospital, I kind of wanted to find something that was going to help me get myself out of my head, kind of slow down my thoughts.
Critics of graffiti in general might call it vandalism, but admirers call this street art. Michelle Miller shows us a fuzzier art form called yarn bombing that's being stitched across the world.
I remember I was watching TV and the TV cut to this girl in Brooklyn, and she was yarn bombing, and I'd never seen anything like it. My whole life I've loved art, and since I was little, I wanted to be an artist. I've always loved mixed media, but I've never found my medium. So I remember the next day I went on YouTube and I just started looking up the basics of how to crochet.
Then you're going to pull downwards and pull through the loop on your hook.
And for the next 2 weeks, I was just enthralled with learning how to crochet. So I taught myself off of YouTube. It helps with anxiety, depression, and I knew that it combined my love for texture and color. My mind is constantly racing with thoughts. But with crochet, it is a lot of counting, repetition, numbers. You have to actually focus and you're moving your hands. So while my mind still does wander, if I find it wandering, I can literally come back to counting. And so I'll just 1, 2, 3, and you start over, and this cycle kind of continues over and over again, and you can be just counting. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2. And while it sounds maybe a little bit boring, for someone like me when my mind is never stopping, it is a little bit of a moment of clarity. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. It's my work practice, it's my spiritual practice, it's my medication. It's all of these things in one that you wouldn't think when you just see some yarn, which is really cool. While I was learning to crochet, I was also researching street art and just becoming in awe of this art form that I've seen before, but maybe never really appreciated as much as I do now. It's prevalent everywhere, but if you're not taking the time to look up from your phone or stop, you miss it. I mean, especially being in Philadelphia, the streets are like an outdoor museum if you really stop and take the time and look around. I realized that I never will be or never really want to be a gallery painter or gallery artist. So I thought, why not bring my art to the streets and create an outdoor gallery? I am really good at creating pieces that resonate with people in a new way. So I started doing a lot of stuff revolving around mental health. And I had put up a piece and it was 3 large crocheted flowers. And it was a dying flower, a flower that was growing a little bit, and a flower that was blooming. And I wrote, "It gets better" on it. And that was a piece, almost like a turning point piece, that people were really interacting with, saying how much it meant to them, that it was like a little hidden oasis in the busy street, and they would stop, and I'd never seen anything like it, really. So I started thinking, what kind of motifs and what kind of pieces of art can I make that are going to make an impact? It's kind of expanded into me being able to go to the streets and use crochet as activism, and there's actually a term for it called craftivism, which I really enjoy, and I think it's such a fun word to say. We are currently on South Street in South Philadelphia, and we are going to install a piece. It's a little play on words and kind of a little thank you to Philly and everyone in the community who's really been kind of stepping up during these crazy times. So I'm going to be installing a couple crocheted pieces of sushi, and I have a bunch of Philly rolls, which is the popular sushi here in Philadelphia, and it says Philly rolls with it. It's kind of just saying, like, we are taking this kind of bad hand that we've been given lately, and we are making the most of it. I just wanted to make it light and whimsical, and you'll see that the sushi are a bunch of bright colors, but also a message for Philly to keep it up and keep up the good work and not to stop fighting for what we believe in. Color is my favorite part of art and crocheting and of life, I think. A lot of times when I'm putting up a piece outside, people will say, "Oh, did you just make this right now while you were outside?" And absolutely not. My pieces, I create them at home and I install them on the street. So I will spend anywhere from an hour to 40 hours at home making a free piece of art for the street that might not last more than 24 hours. The best days are when I start to create a piece that, all right, I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but as I'm starting to make it, sometimes I just smile or I'll laugh to myself. I'm like, I'm funny. Like, that really energizes me. So when I'm able to actually get up and be a person, which I can't always be every day because of my mental illness, those days I really treasure. My art helps beautify the community, and I'm okay with it being temporary because everything is temporary. And that it just really doesn't bother me. My art form really reminds you to be present in the moment, that you don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. And I think that that is the beauty of it, because it's kind of like a life philosophy.
Imagine being judged by your symptoms and not by your illness. There were weeks when I couldn't step out of my house. Just hearing the sharp traffic outside would somehow reduce me to a sobbing, nervous wreck, unable to make it out of my room, even to submit my college assignments. I couldn't even step out of my house for the fear that my depression would single me out as some sort of obvious freak. My name is Sanjukta Chauhan. I'm a student in New Delhi, India. Nobody could tell that I was depressed. I mean, because half the time I'd be so happy and upbeat, but the other half, I'd cut off all connections. I wouldn't talk to anyone, I'd never text back, I'd never step out, I'd never make plans, and I did this for years. Most people just carry this baggage with them for the longest, and you see how it invariably affects everything around them. I did not realize that I had this problem because I had normalized the depression. For me, the opposite of happiness became depression. It wasn't sadness. I'd never treated my problem as a real problem. You know, you see other people, they have it worse. You're very fortunate, you know, you have a family, you have a home, you have food, you go to a good school, you have all of that. You should be very grateful. Mental health problems are still seen as somewhat first world problems. Really, can you afford to have depression right now? Don't you have like 50 things to do? It's very difficult for people to understand that it's an illness or a problem just like any other physical illness, you know? You need a doctor, you need meds, you need support, you need love, you need understanding, you need all of these things. So sometimes you feel like you're all alone and you can't talk to anyone, but then you discover your community of people who also talk about mental health, and that's a great feeling. The inability to explain this nightmare will forever haunt me, especially as a writer, since I've always believed that words are my forte. And if my words don't stand a chance, then how can I hope to conquer something I cannot yet define to others? People think writing is just one thing. It's very mechanical, it's putting words to paper, but it's more than that. It's you compiling your experiences and your personality. You know, it's a very strong part of your individuality. So I don't think I wrote this essay for other people as much as I did it for myself. That might sound a bit selfish, but I feel like I needed to get so many things off my chest, and if anyone anywhere could benefit from hearing about my experiences or knowing that they weren't alone, or yes, it is really that hard, if it could help anyone, then that's all I really wanted. But it was more about me, that I wanted to own it. I didn't just want to say that, oh, there was this period in my life where I was really down and I didn't really feel like myself and nothing was right. Well, I know that when I wrote these words, I was crying because I remember vividly everything that I was describing, but right now, I'm okay. I'm better than okay. It feels good. I'd be lying if I said, even now, that I have it all figured out mental health-wise. However, I am annoyingly optimistic and believe in fighting for the things that you want out of life. I know it's bloody hard to remember that these clouds have a silver lining when they descend upon you in your loneliest hours. But do yourself a favor and call out every struggle you go through by what it has to offer you. Everyone learns the hard way. Call out each cloud by its silver lining.
I'm Gabriel Nathan. I'm the editor-in-chief of OC87 Recovery Diaries, and this is Herbie the Love Bug. I was 5 years old, and my Aunt Rena was visiting from Israel, and that was a great excuse for my parents to go out on a date. Rena went to West Coast Video down the street, and she got a Betamax copy of The Love Bug, the original 1968 film, and I just remember sitting there just utterly mesmerized by the things that this car was doing, the huge round headlights. He just looked so innocent. It was utter magic. I've been living with depression for my whole life. I noticed my mental health taking a real nosedive after the election, and the mental health of my wife. We were very despondent and depressed, and we were sad. You just kind of felt hopeless and powerless and sort of deflated. This is a 1963 Volkswagen Beetle, the same year as Herbie the Love Bug. We found him in Trenton. We brought him home, and my wife and I set to work doing the graphics ourselves, replacing bits and bobs as they fall off, and here he is. I've had this car almost a year, but I like to tell people it was a 30-year buildup. This was a long time coming. Herbie is another family member. I have a wife, I have twin 6-year-olds, I have a 7-year-old Basset Hound, and a 54-year-old car. Herbie is a constant presence in our life. Herbie's out whenever the sun is shining because he brings sunshine into the lives of other people.
This is unbelievable. Like, I tell my coworkers, this is all that. Well, this made me happy. I was actually not having the best of week. Like, I was really concerned about just life. And then I saw this and it was just like, you know what? Life's okay for a moment.
There's a Herbie smile that when you're driving, you see people on the street and it comes out, and it's addictive. I love it. Look at how happy you are. Herbie represents happiness, and Herbie represents love and good, warm feelings.
It's Herbie. That's what it's about.
I'm a really shy person, and I'm very socially awkward. Herbie does not allow you to hide. He makes me want to be out and about talking to people, and that is not something that I have any desire to do without him. People are so excited to talk about the car and ask you questions and share their memories of the film or of the Beetle that they used to own.
Wow, is that the original radio too?
That's an original Sapphire AM radio. So he's got new seats, new carpet, he's got new floor pans, there's a brand new engine.
Everything's like right there. I can imagine like driving this must feel like a go-kart.
Very different than a car that you have ridden in ever in your life.
Yeah.
It's just an experience.
He's made me more social, he's made me more extroverted, he's made me more of a people person, and that's a pretty amazing thing for a car. People open up to you, they tell you things about themselves, conversations that never would have happened if it weren't for this car, kind of as the spark. I find that I love people more because of this car. Thank you.
Thank you. Bring it on a hugger, sorry.
I'm a hugger too. In German, KDF-Wagen, it literally means strength through joy. This car is giving us strength through joy. He is teaching us empathy. He is teaching us to take things as it comes. He is teaching us to be fulfilled through being with other people. 1, 2, 53. Herbie is kind of like the underdog. He's the little ugly duckling that nobody really loves until this downtrodden race driver takes a chance on him. And sometimes I feel like we're all Herbie. We're all kind of the underdog. We're all kind of the ugly duckling, and we just need someone to take a chance on us.
6 months after my first daughter was born, I fell into a very severe depression. I could barely get out of bed and was agoraphobic and suicidal. And during one of those episodes of depression, I was in the shower. It hit me all at once. I was in tears and I felt like I couldn't breathe. I thought I was dying. I didn't need to kill myself because I was about to be dead. And I fell down, brought the curtain down, the whole deal. Was going to call for help, reached for my phone, and instead accidentally had it on camera mode. So I started taking a few pictures. I don't know why, I was just clicking. But while I was taking the pictures, thought, oh, that crack over there would make a good picture. And just that one thought and just that one breath helped me to become more present. After a few moments, I was able to breathe a little better and a little slower and come back to life in a way. That small moment had a really huge impact on me. Photography really did become a part of my therapeutic process and got me out of my room and into the world again. I love her. She looks a little like me. Yeah, you look just like me. There's something very familiar about her and about her expression. I feel very connected to her. This is cool. I love this. This is so cool. They're like postcards. My parents don't know I date. I am in my 20s and I still enjoy playing dress up. I like that. I'm scared. I'm very personal. There's something very broken light about this. Just glimpses into people's personal thoughts and feelings and emotions and just personal confessions. I think of Broken Light like that for many people is stuff that you normally keep inside and just putting it out there for other people to see. I loved the idea of a collective, of having this community. Even if you can't get out of your bed, you could still be a part of a community. That was amazing to me. Depression really gets me stuck into this tiny shell, and photography kind of helps me, you know, break through that and engage with people. For those of us who struggle with mental health challenges, it's really hard to put our experiences, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions into words. You have this huge feeling you want to express and you just don't know how. By taking pictures, you know, you're conveying those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions. It started from the floor of my bathroom, and then a little website, and then one at a time, people sharing their story, people connecting, people empathizing, and just feeling less alone. I definitely think photography is a language.